Welcome to today's Christian Music live radio interview broadcast. And I'm your host, Gene Schmidt. I will be interviewing artists around the country who are part of the Christian Music Organization, CSMI, Christian Songwriters and Musicians International. Welcome to today's Christian Music broadcast. It's an outreach of CSMI. And we are so glad to have one of my better friends on today, Mike Braun. And a little backstory on Mike. He did a beautiful outreach years ago in Oshkosh called The Dwelling. Brought in Christian artists and bands. Not easy to do. I was one of the groups that did a concert with Bruce Carroll, and I think we did an individual one. And then Mike is now the leader of Christian Events Ministry. So, my brother, welcome to the show.
Gino, thank you much for having me on.
It's great to have you on. And my first question always to everyone I interview is, how did you find the Lord, or how did he find you?
How did he find me? I was raised in a United Methodist church, and unfortunately, my parents believed they were saved just because they were baptized as children. And in 1972, my younger brother was hit by a car. He was 8, I was 13. Happened right in front of me. He died at the hospital that night, and I went through a period of time of just, wondering what life was about.
Wow.
And through those circumstances, a family moved into the area that had retired from the military. I befriended the youngest son, started hanging out with him, and one thing led to another, and the older brother eventually led me to Christ back in 1974.
Wow, what a story. Mike, I never knew that about the loss of your brother. Oh my gosh. So back in 74, you became a Christian?
Yeah, it was a couple of years after my younger brother was killed. My parents then embarked on 20 years of not ever going to church because of that.
God. Oh my gosh. Where did you end up growing up? What area?
I was in a suburb of Madison called Monona.
Oh, Monona? Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's wow. It's not easy to take my breath away, but that does cause me to go unbelievable. So after finding the Lord, you absolutely have had an interest in music and ministry. Tell me how you got involved with events, Christian events.
Well, my walk with the Lord, like most people, hasn't always been 100% on fire and going and such. And my wife and I had made a difficult decision in 2018 to leave a Baptist church we were at because of some things that were going on that we didn't consider biblical. So we started going to Calvary Sunrise in Oshkosh, and within a couple of months, I was asked to do data entry, to take all their financial records and put them on the computer because they had never done that. And then they were going to go from this 3,000 square foot building. They wanted a bigger building. And during one of my prayer times, God told me we were going to get a certain building and that he wanted me to launch this ministry, which I'd love to say that I was like Abraham and believed, but I was really more like Moses and argued with God about it. I would shut the radio off on the way to church, and music was not a part of my life at all. Told my wife, Brenda, and she was like, you better obey and go talk to the pastor, which I did. He was on board with it. So in early 2019, we launched Dwelling 222. And over the next 3.5 years, we had 7 worship nights, I think 3 comedy nights, and 39 evenings where we hosted Christian music, including Remnant. So we brought in Sanctus Real, Mark Schultz, I Am They, Cochran and Company, Jason Gray a couple of times. A lot of independent artists that Brendan Brooks, Erskine, Anna Vitarde, Gene Watson. In fact, it was my association with you which helped me to make a lot of contacts and bring these artists in.
Yeah, and it's not easy to find Christian artists in Wisconsin or the Midwest. It's not like Nashville on any level, So thankfully with CSMI, we have a pretty good group of artists in the Midwest. And
we got a great database, and I was able to use
Yep.
to call on that, to bring people
Yep.
in. And then, of course, I've
Yep.
been recruiting bands for you over the last couple of years
Oh yeah.
to bring them in too.
So I'm going to ask a beautiful question about your lovely wife. She records a Christmas album. So
Yes.
not only are you involved in Christian events, you have a wife that has done some recording. And I want to hear a little bit about how that's gone with her before we go forward with some questions I have about events.
She's been singing since 3 or 4 years of age, and grew up singing, and her mom loved it and all. And when she got in high school, she was singing, in competitions, regional and sectionals and such. And then after high school, she sang at weddings and such, but didn't do much with it. God brought us together through amazing circumstances, and we got married. And that is one of the first things that attracted me to her. She's very pretty, and she has a gorgeous voice. And so, in fact, the first time I actually talked to her, she just finished singing it as well with my soul. And after service, I went up to ask with her. I thought it was a great lead-in question to maybe get her phone number, which was, "Hey, do you know the story behind that song?" And she said yes, she did, in such a way that I knew the door was closed at that point. Um, but after we got married, she started working with a voice coach. In 2019, we cut a 15-song CD, and then in 2024, we put together a 10-song hymn, Christmas hymns. And your good friend Noah Wolf from King's Conquest did all the production and everything behind it. And now WRVM up in northern Wisconsin plays 8 of the 10 songs off that. And Brenda arranged the songs in such a way that it literally starts, the first song is about the prophecies, and then it goes all the way to the cradle.
Hmm.
And so when she goes to do a concert, and she's done 4, is she just sings her way through the album. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been very well received, and I was a little concerned because she'd never done anything like that before, but she handled it like a true professional, and she's just a delight to work with, obviously.
Well, I wanted that segue in our show because your lovely wife doing music is part of your legacy and part of your musical heritage. So thank you for sharing that. That leads me to go down the road of events, Christian events. Mike, I got a question. Why do local churches not have many Christian concerts anymore?
Um, some of it is a fear of money. Some of it is, yeah, they don't have budgets for it. I think personally they're too busy.
Hmm.
And I try, when I approach a new church, I try and explain that this is an opportunity to engage your congregation, because all congregations have got fringe people that may show up on Sundays, may not real faithful. This is a way to bring them in on a Friday or Saturday night, and it's not a church service. But it also gives you a chance to introduce your church to the community. We've had numerous people that came to concerts and were so impressed with the people and how friendly they were, that they not only came to church on Sundays, they stayed and got involved in ministry through the church.
So let's talk about the financial end. How is that for you, Mike? How was it with dwelling, and did you hit roadblocks with it, or were artists pretty amicable on working stuff out like that?
The majority of the artists that I work with, probably 85% or better, come for donations.
Oh, wow.
So that
Wow.
means the church doesn't have to write a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 check. They
Hmm.
just take donations the night of the concert and turn it over to the artist. Obviously, artists like to have a place to stay if they're far from home, and maybe a meal to go with it. But really, if that's the only out of pocket that the church has, that's really not bad.
Wow, that's amazing. And I got some questions about some of the artists. I'm pretty intrigued with Cochran and Company. What is their backstory?
Um, boy, Michael has a very powerful voice. Has written songs, and I know that during the concert he did at our location, he kind of stopped the concert, took the microphone, stood up from the piano, and gave his testimony, and it was just amazing to see an artist of that stature humble himself and share some not so wonderful things from his past.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Wow.
uh, when I notice when I'm dealing with artists that come for donations, um, a lot of it's because they're more interested, like your ministry, more interested in the ministry than the money, and
Hmm,
more interested in the message than the music.
hmm.
And that's why I've tied myself a lot to CSMI, because you find people like that.
Yeah.
And when I call her, there's one lady I introduced to you, Lori Beal, who I
Oh, yeah.
call her, and she's 2 hours away. And when I say I've got a show here and here, she's like, I'm on board. And I said, well, I haven't even told you how much it pays. And she says, I don't care. I'm
Oh,
there.
man. Mike, we built literally probably one of our platform premises was do the work of God. Don't worry about money. God will provide, and step out in faith. And I think what nailed Christian concerts on a local level probably was some of the CCM movement in the late 80s, 90s, when they literally would ask for monies that were, by the time you paid the concert off, your church was broke for 6 months. So
Yeah.
that happened. And I think some of it became celebrity driven.
Yes.
And I think people got greedy. I think people felt privileged. And so CSMI, and we're always going to keep that mandate. What the Bible say, go into all the world, preach the gospel, and through music and song. And I think the minute that you make money a hurdle, I think you end up hurting the promoter that's trying to help you get a event. And then the other thing you do is uh, there's a lot of pressure when it's a large amount of money,
Yeah.
that you go, that might not come in, or we may not make that kind of thing. But thankfully, CSMI has probably 300 artists, maybe a little more, that go offerings, probably close to 400, which is pretty unheard of. So
The the other thing is the national promoters, when they get involved, and I saw this with Cochran and Company and
yeah.
Sanctus Real, I got them for a decent price. They both went and signed with large national, and all of a sudden their prices doubled.
Oh,
And
wow.
so kind of priced themselves out of my range. Now, as you know, I'm promoting Petra. We got a Petra concert coming up
Yeah.
2 weeks from tomorrow. We sold
Yeah.
350 tickets in 34 days. And
Wow.
um, when I signed the contract, I was obligating myself to meet that bill. So if we came up short in ticket sales, I'd have to dig into my pockets, and I'm retired. I'd have to dig into my pockets and pay it.
Hmm.
Before I signed that contract, I laid it out and I said, Lord, I believe this is from you. I think you want this to happen,
Hmm.
and so I'm going to trust you for it. And literally 5 weeks later, we blew through all the tickets. In fact, the pastors opened up some more seats because we've rearranged some things in the sanctuary, so we still got some seats available.
Where's that concert at?
It's at Calvary Sunrise, right downtown Oshkosh.
Oh, where we were all went?
Yes, yes, same
Wow.
stage.
Yeah, that holds probably the most. You're not going to get more than 400 in there, I would think.
Yeah, I think originally when they had pews in there, it was about 400. We
Wow.
switched to nice, comfortable chairs and figured
Huh.
it at 350. We went back and moved chairs a little bit closer together. We can put in another couple more rows and can get us 390. I think is about where we're going to be.
Wow.
But
What a
yeah,
miracle.
when I decided when God called me to step
Hmm.
away from dwelling 222, and there were some things going on that I was unhappy with.
Right.
Um, I stepped in, and God, literally at night when I was out at my cottage, I couldn't sleep, and I got up and I just started writing. You write songs, so I'm sure this happens to you. I'm writing and writing and writing, and I stop about a page and a half in, and realize my first whole page was a resignation letter.
Hmm.
And the next page and a half was literally laying out the foundation of what became Christian Events Ministry. When I was at dwelling, I had a board at dwelling, and then they answered to the board at the church, which is fine unless you're not on the same page.
Hmm.
Here, I answer to God directly, and then also my wife, gives me feedback if she thinks I'm spending too much time on it and such. So in 2023, we launched Christian Events Ministry, and now I'm working with 50 or more churches all across Wisconsin that want
Wow.
to have some kind of, I just literally put a deal together in an hour and a half yesterday when a church called and said, hey, there's a comedian in our area. Can you get him for us? And I made a bunch of phone calls and all, and boom, now he's going to be there this Sunday. So that's the kind of thing that I do. I don't charge for what I do. A lot
Wow.
of promoters build their fee into it, so instead of paying 4,000, you're paying 5,000, or they tie it to ticket sales or whatever. I don't do that. My wife and I are blessed financially, so I don't have to do that. It also, I tell churches, don't write a check to me, just give the extra money to the band because I really want them to be blessed for what they're doing.
Wow, what a beautiful heart. God blesses that kind of heart. I
He
love that.
definitely has.
I've always said at our conferences, we need, I wish I knew the total state number, but we need a Mike Braun in every state. And everyone, listening to this broadcast, when we do put it up, pray about someone in your state doing what Mike does, because it is not easy, even for artists, even good artists, to always get a church meeting or church concert. And Mike's become very good at it, very prolific at it. And so just keep him in prayer. So that leads me to these questions, Mike. Obviously, artists that do it unto the Lord, it's probably more impactful with their ministry. You could probably tell
I,
artists whose
I
heart is in it.
Yeah, I think so. I have seen some artists that can't wait to wrap up their set to get to the next show. A contract I signed, I won't mention the artist,
Yeah.
called for a minimum of a 75-minute. And I think literally his 75 minutes went off and he finished a song and he walked off the stage. And I was expecting to go back and meet fans, sign autographs and everything. And I'm busy cleaning up the sanctuary. And I get a call from his manager who was with him who said, "Hey, can we get our check? We're ready to go." 10 minutes after he walked off the stage. And those types of individuals aren't in it for ministry.
Wow, that's
Then you get on the other side, you get a Jason Gray who
yeah.
comes and he does a 2-hour concert and then stands back there and talks with everybody who wants to talk and make sure they get a picture or an autograph. He didn't get back to his hotel room till after midnight on
Yeah,
one
I'd
of his
love to get
concerts.
Jason to be part of CSMI. I would. He's the kind of guy that has a heart for, he's a people guy.
Yeah,
And we did one of the first events he ever did in Nashville. He did with CSMI when we did the NRB. So,
we've got him coming up to New London on June 7th, a
uh,
Sunday night. So I'll make a point of talking with him
no, you make
about
a
that.
point of me being there.
Okay, okay.
Hold my ticket or whatever I got to have. Just hold
Good.
it
So
out.
one for you and Ann.
Yeah. Throw
Ann
it down.
coming
Give
up.
me
All
two
right.
tickets and I'll pay you that night. So,
I'll get you two
and
VIP
maybe
tickets.
we can go out and have a meal or something with them. And yeah, I really groundbreaking. Jason's probably first concert in Nashville was when we did the three artists with CSMI and him at the NRB. But
Hmm.
that's very impressive that he did that. And so, Mike, where do you see? We're kind of in a reform in America. How impactful do you think Christian music is in our country? I think it's really increasing.
I think it is too. People are becoming disgruntled, realizing, the answers aren't coming out of Washington, D.C. And whether you like the person in the White House or not, we need to be looking at the lamb, not the donkey or the elephant.
Yeah.
And I think
That's the first time I've heard anyone say that. I'll
I,
borrow that. That's good.
I think that uh, people just, we see the same old going on for decade after decade, and we need something that's going to be there for us.
Yeah.
And so when Jesus Christ comes into your life, that's a change that you're going to feel, that you're going to know, and that music that uplifts the name, and that's what the ministry that CEM has is to uplift the name of Jesus, to encourage believers, and to support the artists,
Yeah.
and supporting the artists financially, spiritually, emotionally.
Yeah. I love that, Mike. And so like your ministry's gaining pretty good ground in our state. Uh just encourage independent artists if you would a minute. What would you tell them? You've been around the block a few times, so
Well, several of the independent artists that I know are willing to spend time on the phone with you. If you're just starting out and you're like, I don't know what to do, I can put you in touch with a couple of three different artists that'll take time on the phone and talk with you step by step how to start. how to market yourself, how to, how to do the whole merch thing. And it's so cool because, you know, uh, they may never ever have a top 10, top 20 hit on CCM, and that's not what they're about. They're about spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ and leading people to Christ and encouraging believers to get deeper into the Word, and they will talk about that from the stage. And so I encourage you to grab onto a ministry, be it evangelism, be it encouragement, be it youth, whatever, because that is what's going to sustain you. If you focus on the music, you're going to get real disappointed when CCM doesn't come along and sign you to a major contract. But if your focus is on the ministry, God will sustain you. God will sustain you, and if He's given you the ability to have music as a career, then just rely on Him, and He'll take care of you.
Yeah. What's your take, Mike, on secular companies owning Christian labels?
I've gone on the record with my
Well, I know. I want you to go on the record here too, brother.
Ministerial musings for Mike. I talk about how Christian bands, when you get big enough, you need to start your own production company. We need Christians running the Christian music, because the focus with the secular organizations owning all of the Christian labels is that their focus is money.
Yeah.
You see a band charging $135,000 for a concert. That's insane.
Wow. Dang.
You could feed an entire city of homeless people for a long time on that.
No, you could feed the state of homeless people. Wow.
And so, and I understand you're bringing a crew with you and setting up huge displays and all. I love the throwback days when I worked with Scott Wesley Braun and Bruce Carroll, and Bruce comes out with his bandana, his guitar, and he gives a concert. There's no
and
smoke
had an
machine.
amazing one at that. Yes.
Yeah, and there's no smoke machine. There's no flashing lights. There's nothing, and he just shares from his heart. This is what God's doing. Hey, this is a tough time I went through. I wanted to tell you about.
Yeah. Wow.
He's probably coming up this way this summer again. I got to get in touch with him.
Yep. I just did an interview a week or two ago with him. One of my better friends. So that leads me to ask this question. How powerful can a song touch a life? You've heard some amazing music. Song versus sermon. What does a song do sometimes a sermon can't do?
From 2001, when I was going through a divorce, till 2007, I walked away from my faith. And I was pursuing a secular life and doing whatever I wanted to. And I'm really thankful and surprised God didn't call me home.
Wow. Did you ever worry about that? Like a lightning bolt coming down?
It was in my mind.
Wow. Well, it'd be in mine too. So.
And I plugged in a song by Michael Card.
Really?
Yeah. I July 4th, 2007, I'm on my way up to see my folks. And I plug in this, and this song starts playing, and I start crying. I have to pull off the road, bawling my eyes out. I think I spent an hour in confession. And that was a signature point in my life, because I haven't been the same since then. I haven't gone back to the depth of things. I stumble here, I stumble there, but I'm in the Word daily, and I'm studying, and I'm getting into the Greek and the Hebrew, and God's allowed me to do pulpit supply, and I'm teaching some places, and I've got a radio ministry out in Manitowoc now, and so God's really taken a hold of that. It really came about because of a certain song that touched my heart.
Wow, Mike, how did you feel coming back to the Lord? Like when you were praying and that song touched you, was it just something that just came into your heart? Like you just felt a cleansing, or what? How did that happen?
I think it was a case of, I allowed the conviction to get into my heart.
Oh, gotcha.
I was, my mind's like, Mike, you shouldn't do this. Mike, you shouldn't do this. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I allowed it to get into my heart, where the conviction got a hold of me and said,
wow.
Enough.
Wow,
it's time to come home.
Man, that is so great. Man, when I talk to Michael, I'll text him and say, brother, your song had an impact on a good buddy of mine. But
I've tried to reach out to him to get him up here to do a concert or whatever, and his manager keeps interrupting. And he's retired. He won't do this. And
yeah, I've been down that road with him. But Well, Mike, we got a couple minutes left.
Okay.
So talk about the cabin. You got like your little upper room on the lake in Wisconsin. What does that do for you? It was your parents' place, correct?
Yeah, my parents had it built back in the early 80s.
Hmm.
And my mom, who came to Christ at age 75
Okay.
in 2011, and then my dad came to Christ in 2012 when he was 80.
Wow.
They've both gone home to be with the Lord.
Yeah.
And because I was taking care of them during their elderly years and such, they passed the cabin to me. So my
Wow.
wife and I have cleaned it up and got it in really good shape now. And what we do is when we get to know Christian artists, traveling preachers, things of that nature, we allow them to stay there free to use it so that they can save on, hotel fees and things of that nature. We stock water up there, and in
What
the
lake is
summertime,
that on?
what's that?
What lake are you on?
It's actually called the White River Flowage.
Really?
It's
Oh, you're
right
up by
out,
Wapaka.
right outside of Watoma.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and
Wow.
there's a dam down the way a little bit, so we don't have to worry about getting flooded out. I've
Wow.
caught all manner of fish. I caught a 25-inch northern, a 14 and
Wow.
a half inch bass, and a whole
Wow.
bunch of panfish and such. So it's great fishing. We got a couple paddle boats, a pontoon boat, some kayaks. So, and we make this all available. We've got three people coming in from Lynchburg, Virginia, that do something called the Genesis Experience, where they do a fast-paced 90-minute presentation on creation with videos and audience participation. Kids get to do experiments, all kinds of fun things like that. And it's a husband, wife, and daughter. And I just let them have the cottage for a week, and then I line up shows for them.
Wow. How great is that? Well, Mike, it's been a pleasure having you. Uh, oh, my lands. I'm so blessed to hear how you came back to the Lord. I can't imagine you not doing that. I'm so blessed to hear about your wife. Everyone, where can we find your ministry on the internet?
I'm on Facebook, Christian-Events-Ministry, and that will lead you to my webpage. My webpage is about like that long because
Okay.
I use MailChimp for my email, and so
Yep.
the MailChimpSites.com is part of it. But if you go to Christian-Events-Ministry on Facebook, you'll find me. There's a link to my webpage. My webpage has all the stuff I'm currently working on, and then I put out a new weekly newsletter. Just put one out today that again highlights things that are coming up in the area, outside the area. So even if you don't live right in the Fox Valley area, more than likely I got something coming up in your area.
All right. Well, let's have a prayer. Lord, thank you for Mike. Thank you for his outreach. Thank you for his heart for the Lord. Bless this wonderful outreach. Bless his ministry. Lord, give him healing through the surgery that he had and comfort him, Lord. And I think he's one of the best brothers I've met that has a heart for artists. And so, Lord, just keep giving him, like God, Jabez, expanding his borders, boundaries, and finances, and strengthen him in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
It's been an honor to have you, my brother.
Well, Jim, I really appreciate it, and I love what you do, and I love following you on Facebook. And man, I hope when I get to be your age, I'm a few years younger, that I've got half the energy that you have.
I still feel good, brother. Thank you so much.
Praise God. All righty.
Lord bless you, Mike.
Take care.
Yep. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to today's Christian music broadcast. We are an outreach of CSMI, Christian Songwriters and Musicians International. If you would like to be part of this broadcast, please email us at cwnnashville@gmail.com or go to our website, www.csmimusic.org.